Hello, friends. My name is Aslam Sheikh, your host for this evening. I'm a founder and CEO of Aleph, a platform to promote the global perspective of education and career. This is our 63rd career talk and broadcasted live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn channel. Every Friday, we aim to bring in the topic that is important for you and for your career. So, those who are joining us first time, let me quickly introduce you who we are and what we do, and then we will discuss about very important topic. And we have a lot of students, parents, and school teachers are looking forward to this session. So let me quickly introduce you about Alif. It's the first alphabet in Arabic and Urdu language that signifies the beginning, and hence that's our name of the company, because most of the time you would be taking your first big step towards higher education outside India. Our company was established in 2008, 2009. We have counseled over 23,000 students. We maintain 100% admission ratio to the universities we represent. We have got 95% visa ratio, and we represent 14 plus countries across the world. Our company is affiliated with ISF, WEBA, British Council. These are some of the international educational platforms, and also with the other local platforms, which you can see on the screen. Our company was also named among the top 10 most recommended overseas education consultants by the very reputed Insight Success Education House. What we promise to our students? Well, it's a 100% guarantee of the admissions to the university, so that as a parent, you would have a peace of mind based on the documents which you submit, and of course, to meet the eligibility criteria of the university. These are some of the internationally recognized reputed universities, colleges, and schools across the world where our students are studying their bachelor's or a master's program. We also help our students to get the scholarship. Until 2019, we had helped our students to get a scholarship worth 23 crore Indian rupees, under various heads offered by a lot of university partners with whom we work very closely. What we do is, of course, is the first step is that we help the students for the career counseling. A lot of students are confused, parents are confused what to do in their career and how to make sure that we take a right decision. So we employ a very technology-based approach wherein we help you to identify the right options for yourself. We also train our students for the IELTS coaching. That's the English test, which is almost compulsory by all the universities and countries where you want to study. And of course, in study abroad domain, we help the student right from identifying the right college, course, country, to application, essay writing, SOP, what we also call. If you're looking for education loan, then we are tied up with 6+ banks to help you with the education loan, then visa process, fee transfer, air ticket, foreign exchange, before going abroad, having a complete full-fledged pre-departure program, and also finding the accommodation based on your preference and budget. These are a few of the countries where we have our universities located. We have got 200+ universities across Europe, North America, Middle East, and Asia Pacific. We are very active on social media, so do join us or follow us on Facebook or Instagram, or join and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you would have a wealth of information about career counseling and study abroad consulting. These are some of the pictures showcasing the active activities which we used to do before pandemic, but nevertheless, we also are very active on online. So we have conducted a lot of education fairs and a lot of events and programs whereby we invite industry experts, school principals, colleges, and students also from abroad to join and share their experiences. So do participate in that. These are some of the pictures telling you that we personally visit the universities, colleges, we meet them. So we are not like a robotic company. We're just helping you to identify the right option based on the Google website. We do take the personal approach in terms of our consulting. And the last thing about me, I'm a founder and CEO of Aleph. I have counseled 1,000+ students, traveled to 14 countries. I'm a certified counselor by ISF, WEBA, British Council, ex-president of Untitled Chapter, which is the world's largest networking platform in the world, and also being selected among the top 10 best consulting leaders. So that's the small introduction about our organization. Let's now quickly get into today's topic, and that's very important, friends, for you and the parents also to get to know that where you can look for a study abroad, what's the situation like in different countries, what are the norms. Of course, we are going to cover the very important points, otherwise 30 minutes would not be sufficient enough to cover a majority of the countries, but definitely we are going to look at the major countries whereby we would look into the COVID norms and whether the admissions and visa process is open, and what should you do after getting all this information. Should you go ahead to apply? Should you go ahead to study in a particular country? Because different countries are behaving different way in this given situation to safeguard the health of the people who are in the country, and hence we need to take a calculated decision that which country would be ideal for you to go and to invest money for higher education. So let's begin this today's topic, and let's start with our first country, USA, the most popular country in the world. And of course, for the Indian student also, it's the first destination always to choose when it comes to science, engineering, and management program. So let's look at US, how US is welcoming the Indian student. And we are all talking about from the Indian student perspective. So we will first look into the norms of the COVID, and then we'll progress towards the basic question asked, that should you go for opt for online, offline, or hybrid education mode? What are these modes all about? Is it making sense to invest money into these areas at the moment? And should we even go or not to go, in this given situation to study abroad? So we will come back to that questions later on. First, look at the country. So we're starting with US. Friends, US has opened up the its a gate for the international students, in the sense that the admissions are going on. So definitely you can apply to universities. You can opt for the September October intake for the admission point of view. The next intake is September October, so that you can also apply for the visa. Now visa window is open. Marginally, it was open for the last 1.5 months. Now they promised that July onwards they're going to have more visa interview appointments available for international students. So that's a good news coming in. So July, August, we are expecting that the US Immigration Department would be more open for the Indian students to accept the application for the visa point of view. At the moment, they are accepting the COVID test if it has been done within last 72 hours of your departure. And the very important thing is that the proof of vaccination is not required to enter the United States if you've already been vaccinated. So that's the important thing. But again, the vaccination is not compulsory. You can have the test done, and if the result is negative, that becomes a chance for you to apply. And the institutional may have their separate policy. So it's very important for you to look at from the immigration point of view also, but at the same time, look at the university point of view. So immigration says that the negative test within 72 hours of your departure is acceptable. Proof of vaccination is not required at the moment. That's what has been said onto their official website. However, look at the university individual requirement. The university may allow you with the same norms, or they may say that no, we would want you to be vaccinated. So maybe that you have to look at both the ways, immigration and university point of view. USA used to also have the expedition visa process. It means a fast track visa process, so that you can save on time to get the visa. That facility is at the moment not available. And High Commission has said very clearly that do not ask for that request, because we are not entertaining that request at the moment, given a lot of applications queuing up, and then they have got limited window open for the international students. So that expedition visa process is at the moment not available. So that's about US. Then let's move on to the next country. Next popular country for the Indian students is UK. And let's see what UK says. Now UK is again full-fledged available for the admissions, and they are now UK and US both in universities are now nearly approaching towards their deadlines. So most of the universities are having the deadlines and coming in next 2 weeks. So if you're looking for September October intake and would like to fly to these countries to study, you still have a chance of last 2 weeks maybe in most of the cases, and maybe 3-4 weeks in some cases to still apply, provided you have got all the documents in place, or take the help of your counselor, consultants who can help you and identify the process to have you completed it on time. So the UK is allowing the international students to travel, but there are the list. Now the UK has maintained the red list, and they have got a different list based on the seriousness of the problem of the origin country. So India, unfortunately, is in the red list maintained by the UK Immigration Department, and hence direct flights to UK are at present banned. But it's likely that they may allow Indians to travel, considering the situation, ongoing situation, and how the future looks like. But at the moment, the flights are banned. However, the admissions are open and visa appointments are available. So if the visa appointments are available, it's very likely, likely that you may have a choice, may have a chance to travel within time limit to join your September October intake. So that's the present scenario. The classes are happening on a hybrid model. Like those students who are looking for September October intake, it may happen, depending upon again the case in future, that they may shift completely to offline, or they at least would do the hybrid model. Now, what is hybrid model or offline? We know all online model, but the hybrid model is that instead of going to say 4 days to university for a physical class, you just go for 2 days, and remaining 2 days you get the online class. So while being in UK, you have a choice to convert your studies into online and offline, and that's what called is a hybrid model. So UK is at the moment following that, and given a situation, if everything goes well, in next 3 months they may switch over to full-fledged offline classroom. Now, students can travel, student and dependent can travel. So whenever you're looking for the immigration websites and looking for the restrictions or visa or the COVID norms, please go into the students section, because the restriction which are otherwise mentioned on the website is not applicable to the students, and almost all the countries have got exception to the rules for the students. Almost all the countries are giving preference to international students, including Indians, to come and join the university. So student rules would be different than to a normal traveler rules. Also, UK has got one more rule, that again, you need to take the COVID test, and it needs to be negative, and it needs to be taken within the 72 hours. Plus, you also, additionally, in the case of UK, you got to have or you got to buy the managed package for hotel quarantine. So that's compulsory. So you have to take the that's what they termed as managed package for hotel quarantine. That would approximately cost you 1,750 rupees. That's approximately 1,75,000 for 11 days quarantine, and that would include your stay, food, beverage, transfer, security, and also 2 COVID tests. The 2 COVID tests. So, though you would have taken the test here in India before travel to meet the norms to travel, but still UK want you to come and take the test on day 2 of your arrival, and another test on day 8. So these 2 tests with food, beverage, transfer, safety, everything, and stay, of course, is included in that package, which is called managed package of hotel quarantine. So that's approximately 1,75,000. So when you are budgeting for UK, maybe that you have to take this big amount into also consideration over and above your tuition fees and other living expenses, which would start after you normally join the classrooms, and then you would stay into the university accommodation. So that's how the UK is operating. So they have got their websites wherein they keep on upgrading their information. So www.gov.uk/guidance, you can go and you can find out the student section, and you'll have more information about UK. So that's about UK. Let's move on to the next country, Canada. Now, we know that Canada is being the most popular country, among the Indian students for last, especially for 5-6 years, and maximum students are opting to go to Canada for the higher education. So let's look at what Canada has to say. So admission formalities are open. Visa is also open in a limited service capacity. Flights are banned until July 21. So now you might be confused that you're seeing all the countries are saying that, okay, admissions are open, visas are open, but flights are banned. So how does it work? So, well, yeah, it's a very tricky situation to also explain. What the government is doing is that, or the universities along with that doing it, that they are opening up the admission formality, because all the intakes, major intakes, are taking place across these countries in the month of September and October. So with the hope that everything would get back to its normal level, the universities have got the admission formalities to be completed, and the immigration is slowly, gradually looking into your visa formalities to be completed, so that when the travel ban has been lifted, especially for the red zone countries, like India is in most of the red list for the countries. So once it has been lifted, then you do not have to go through the visa process at that time, and maybe that it would be too late for you to join on the time. Hence, it's a good idea that you complete the admission and visa formalities now only, and whenever the travel ban is lifted, you are ready to go and travel and join your the dream destination. So COVID has brought some few changes here in Canada as well. So you got to have the COVID-19 negative list before 72 hours of your departure, whenever the lift gets updated. And then starting from July 5th, that's just after 3 days, the new norm has been announced, which would be in place after 5th July. And that says that you may qualify for exemption from some of the quarantine and testing requirement For that, you must be fully vaccinated with an accepted vaccine and meet other conditions, including being eligible to travel to Canada at that time. So the accepted vaccine, if you would have taken by the time, then you may have to get the exemption of the other quarantine test and requirements. So vaccination, if you are going to take it, it needs to be done 14 days before your date of departure. So remember, test and the result needs to be negative within 72 hours of departure. But if you are getting yourself vaccinated, then there has to be a gap between the last dose you must have taken and the first 14 days of gap between the last dose and the first day of your travel. I know it may sound a little confusing, but just pay attention to it. A lot of information is coming in. So, of course, you can always reach out to us and to our counselor for further information. And then we can sit and on Zoom, of course, and take you through each country's requirement more peacefully and more in detail. But let's go quickly so that you get the feel of it. Now, Canada has announced the accepted vaccine, and unfortunately, that doesn't include the Bharat Biotech Covaxin. But they have got other vaccines as an accepted vaccines like Pfizer, then Moderna, AstraZeneca, and Janssen. So these are the 4 vaccines at the moment they are accepting. It is quite possible that they may extend this list and would include the other vaccines also in their approval list. As the European countries, you must have heard that they are doing it. 9 countries have already done. I'll come back to that point as well. But at the moment, this is the situation in Canada. And also, you must have a suitable quarantine plan for at least 14 days when you are traveling to Canada. The new version of Arrive Can. So that's the web app which they are releasing on again 5th July 2021. Arrive Can. So if you're going to Canada or you're already preparing yourself for Canada, you have opted the admissions or you're applying through it, then you may want to get the updated the website version of Arrive Canada, whereby you need to upload your proof of vaccination that you've been vaccinated. And also keep in mind that if you don't provide the required information in Arrive Can app before arriving at the border, you won't be considered for the exemptions which are likely to be availed, those who are fully vaccinated. And please also note that those no exceptions for partially vaccinated travelers. So if you have already taken 1 dose and 1 dose is pending and you're still traveling to Canada, so this exemption which may come into place for exemption of test or maybe quarantine as they would announce, that would not be available if your vaccination doses are not completed here in India. So you may want to just pay attention to that. So these are the top 3 countries, US, Canada, and UK. We have just looking at from a bird's eye point of view, and so that we can cover as much country as possible. Let's move on to the next set of countries, and starting with Ireland. Now, Ireland has already reported far less cases compared to other countries, and the admissions are in full swing. Classes are going on. Many universities have already started offline classes on campus. Visa appointments have started from June, and more appointments would be opened up in July and August as per the official information by the Canadian Immigration Department. The pre-departure COVID test, again, it's mandatory within 72 hours of your departure. After arrival, it's a restricted movement. So unless it is very much required, you would not go out for the few days, that are 5 days of arrival, and you got to again take the next test, as UK is offering on the 2nd day and 8th day to take another test. Same way Ireland is asking you to take another COVID test on day 5 of your arrival. Now, recently the Irish Embassy has announced that the reopening of several of visa application center they operate through, we all know, through the VFS in India on Monday from 6th July. So 2020 onwards. So this is the first stage of the plan, and they will reopen the other these centers and offices also. At the moment, they're only making this exception for the long-term visas. That includes student visa. I'm not going into the other long-term visa because that's not the topic for today's session. So they are opening up for the student visa. No tourism or short-term visas are covered in this points. Moving to the next European country, next important destination for most of the students is France. France again, the admissions are open, the visa process is open. The travel ban currently is there, and India is among the red list countries. So France is actually working on the issue of COVID shields, being the absence on the European Union green pass, what they have maintained the list after the matter was raised bilaterally by India. So the EU green pass comes into effect from July 1st, and list of approved vaccines that do not include Indian-made COVID shield. So France assured that they are working on it to take the necessary decision. As on date, the France has got the approved vaccinations, which are Pfizer's, then Janssen again, and then Moderna, and then AstraZeneca. So these are the approved vaccines what the France is accepting. Moving to the Germany. Now, Germany has got a very interesting proposal for the students. It has gone a little further to help the Indian students who wants to study in Germany, and you would really want to hear this out. So travel ban is still there up till 28 July for the first time traveler students to Germany. Visa appointments have started for students. So again, as I said, you start your admission process, you start your visa process, and try to complete the visa process on time now at the moment. So whenever the travel ban has been lifted, then you would be easily able to travel and still do pre-travel formalities. So what Germany is saying, that students who wish to study bachelor courses in Germany and has scored more than 90% aggregate in 12th standard, that's CBSE or regional board, can now submit their application for German national visa directly at the service provider VFS Global, and thus you can skip the interview appointment process at the moment. And this also been applicable for the students who are going to Germany for doctoral courses, postdoctorate program, or even the master program. Those who have unconditional offer letter. Not conditional. Unconditional means there is no condition pending. You must have already paid your advance fees or deposit. You must have already completed all the documentation formalities and have taken the necessary test as per the university requirement. And you have got a very clean offer letter saying that, yes, you're all set to apply for the visa. So that's called unconditional offer letter. So if you have that unconditional offer letter, you can apply for master's program, you can apply for visa. And just to recap, if you are if you're aspiring to join a bachelor course, so you must have scored 90% aggregate in your 12th, and then Germany is inviting you. It's also allowing students who have got full scholarship. You know that German universities offer the general scholarship to students to study. So those students who've been offered a full scholarship are also being given a priority to come and file their visas. So that's a news. Okay, the little bit update I'm adding here is also from a Switzerland point of view. Now, the Swiss was the first country last year in the month of August to be declared as the most safest country during the COVID period by Forbes. And also, it's probably the first country in this year who opened up its borders for the international students. So Swiss maintains a very high safety norms and has been very receptive for the international students especially, and they've already announced that now the universities can conduct the offline classes on campus. It means the on-campus classes have been restarted without any restrictions of the number. So it means Switzerland is moving towards the pre-COVID era. It may be the first country to do so. So the students who are looking to study in Switzerland, and we all know Switzerland is famous for hospitality management, business management programs. So if you are looking for these kind of courses and you may want to go to some other country which is not that open, then maybe that you would want to look at Switzerland as a destination because the country is completely open for the international students. The restaurants are open there, and there are no restrictions on movement. So I think it's a very good destination for the students to try out. The vaccinated students will not be required to quarantine, and if not vaccinated, then the test needed before 72 hours. That's the same thing, and then isolation is required upon arrival. So that's about Switzerland. And just to add one more information before we get into the conclusion part and some queries to deal with, recently the 9 EU countries have announced that they will accept the COVID shield, the Indian COVID shield. So according to media reports, the COVID shield vaccines are accepted as a proof of immunity when traveling to these 9 countries. And these 9 countries out of EU, 26 plus countries have approved COVID shield. So that's a good news coming in. These 9 countries, I'm just listing out the names: Austria, Estonia, Germany, Greece, Iceland, Ireland, Slovenia, Spain, and Switzerland. So these are the 9 countries which are accepting. So if you've already been vaccinated, then you would be eligible for a lot of exemptions which they would introduce or they already have introduced for the students in terms of the test or quarantine norms. Now, moving to the last set of countries, Australia and New Zealand. So, all these countries which we have discussed so far, that includes again those who have joined a little late. We have covered the countries like US, UK, Canada, Ireland, France, Germany, and Switzerland. These are all countries are actively taking the students for admissions. The visa process have started and is likely to get more visa appointments in coming months like June and July and August. And these countries are quite wide open and very likely to have students coming in. At the moment, some of these countries have got the travel ban for Indians being in the red list, but we are likely that by September, October, everything should be okay. That's an expectation. However, the country like Australia and New Zealand are still closed for the international students, unfortunately. So we know we had so few cases whereby students have already opted for Australian universities or New Zealand universities. They paid their advance fees and they were waiting for the borders to be opened for the international students so that they can travel. But because of the immigration rules and the border closure decision of the government, the students are still not able to travel. So that's a little unfortunate in these two country cases. In fact, in March, the Australian Ministry of Education and Youth, Alan Tudge, said that he's hoping for international students to return to Australian university by September 1st of 2022. It means next year. After being vaccinated. So that's what he made the official announcement. So it's more likely that you are not going to resume Australian, New Zealand universities by mid of next year. So what the universities are doing, they've already offering the online classes. So you can take online classes and then wait whenever the border is open so that you can travel and you can you can apply for the visa. So we have got the students who applied for the visa, they got the visa and they are studying through online classes so that they do not waste time. Now here the question comes that what should we do? Should we pay money in dollars, and still study online by sitting in India? Is it making a right sense, for the international education point of view? Well, I would say that it's very perceptive, and it's really you need to see from your side that how does it look like. One way you may look at that, not to waste time. You're very clear that you want to get that degree done, and rather than waiting for the universities or country to get open, you say that, okay, let me start my education. Whenever that gets open, I may continue my next semester or next year in that country by being there physically. Another way to look at it is that it really doesn't make sense to invest huge amount of money and still study online, because international education is all about getting international experience, by being there and by involving yourself into the international community. So another perspective would tell you that, yeah, it doesn't make sense. If you ask me, out of my 14 years of experience, what I've seen in this domain, I would advocate that it really doesn't make sense from my side, that to spend huge amount of money and still study online. So I would personally not advocate. Again, it's your personal choice, but I would not advocate that you pay money and wait for the borders to get open when the government or the ministry is announcing that it is more likely to happen in the next year, September. It really doesn't make sense. So rather, you would change the preference of your destination, go to the country who are wide open or who are inviting or who are getting open for the Indian students. And I've already mentioned a few of these countries' norms here in the short program. Coming to the last point. So these are the countries which I wanted to present to you in a nutshell, and then you can have a look at it. I'm just looking at some comments. What is the quarantine requirement for Ireland? And possible quarantine requirement for UK may change by August 12th. So yeah, it's likely to change, Mr. Manohar Raj. Thank you very much for your question. One anonymous, good evening, sir. Thank you very much for your comment. Well, so I've already mentioned about UK, so if you would just go back to the recordings when it is available, you would see. Or otherwise, I will send you, Mr. Manoraj, the points which I've covered here through email. Also, we are going to send the newsletters to all the students of all the points which I've covered in this show, so that if you missed any, you would be able to get back to those points quickly. So, just to answer, Mr. Manoraj, your question, it's for UK. Well, what I said is that UK wants you to buy the managed package of hotel quarantine for 11 days, which would cost around 1,75,000 approximately, which would include your stay, food, beverage, transfers, security, and two tests day on day 2 and day 8. And for Ireland, what I mentioned is that you got to have your pre-departure before departing. You need to take your COVID test within 72 hours, and the government is opening up the visa appointments more in coming time for the students. So a last question which I wanted to cover is also that many parents and students are asking that what to do in this scenario. Is it safe to travel? Is it good to go? Should we have waited already for 1 or 2 years now, second year? Should we wait for one more year? In my opinion, the countries who are doing their best efforts, and I don't think so that COVID is going to go away in any sooner time. Unfortunately, if it happens, well and good for everybody and all the humanities. However, it doesn't look so. So I believe that now it's a high time that we need to take an action. We need to open up. We need to go and live beyond the fear, and hence take the precautions, and you need to come back to your original life. And hence I would suggest that the countries which are open or are opening up for Indian students, and they are making all good efforts. The government is taking the personal efforts to make sure that the health and safety is the priority, not only for locals, also for the international travelers, especially for students. It really makes sense to now invest into your career. Enough of wait has been done for last 2 years. You can't afford to wait for another 1 year, because let's look at it in this way, that what is an alternative again available for you here in India as well. So here also we do not have any decent opportunities to just compensate of you not going abroad. In fact, it is much better that at least you I would say that you take this challenging time and invest into education, because job market is not looking that great. The industries would take time to come back to its normalcy. Having said that, in this situation, if you just want to sit at home or try out something which you are not enjoying, or just to keep yourself engaged and do some work, it really doesn't make sense. So it would rather make sense to invest this time into education, so that you bypass this very challenging time by studying something, by adding some beautiful points and the education onto your portfolio. And by the time you would be graduating or post graduating, it's very likely that you would bypass this 1 or 2 years of challenging time, and you would be available for the post COVID era, and for the better career. And we all live in hope. So that's what I can share. We don't need to talk too much negative about what's happening. We all know, and news channels are doing their job at their best level. So let's be promising, let's be positive, let's invest into our future. Let's not get caught up with these challenges. The countries are coming up, the governments are taking a lot of efforts to safeguard the health and safety of the international students. So let's take the advantage and take the positive steps towards your future career. So with this, I would like to conclude this session. I'm really thankful to all the students, parents who have joined us on a various platform and asked the questions, and who have listened patiently this recording. If you have joined in between, the recording would be available in short time on Facebook, and it takes a little longer to be available on our YouTube channel. But whenever it is available within a day's time, 2 days time, do watch and get yourself educated about the different norms. Nevertheless, the emailers would come to you tomorrow, so that you will get these reference points also in your inbox. So friends, thank you very much. With this, I would like to conclude the session, and thank you very much for listening me again. My concluding remark which I usually read out is like, so thank you. And if you have any questions, do contact us on our helpline number 9987099890, or write your query to our website by logging on to www.alif.in, and our professional counselor will be more than happy to assist you instantly. So I would like to sign up and thank you very much. And I would love to see you again on next Friday with another important topic, and with the guest of the university talking us on a very important topic relevant to the university or that country. So stay safe and stay excited.